Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is an honor to greet you again today. It's a beautiful day in March in Liberty County, Georgia, where the sun is shining and the weather's nice, and it seems like spring is just around the corner. We are here again to give you our monthly COVID update, and what you're going to hear in just a few minutes is some encouraging information, so we are proud to announce that today. We do early on want to appreciate you for your endurance, your perseverance, for your consistency in keeping yourselves and everyone around you safe. We do early on ask you to not totally abandon all the CDC guidelines, but to stand by them as much as you possibly can, so that we won't have to digress or regress, whatever that word is, to go back to where we were a year or 2 years ago. So we're proud of where we are now. You're going to hear in the minute the county administrator is going to give you some updates on what's new in the county. And Mayor Baker's here. I'm sure he will give you updates on what's going on in Walthourville and what they may be considering in the future, because I've had some calls already. Mayor Baker, you may not know the county has lifted its mandatory masking. So I've had some calls from other municipalities asking about that decision, and so I'm sure you and others will be also considering that. So this is Team Liberty. We're in this together. We weathered it together, and we'll continue to weather it together. We do remind you that I heard from a call earlier that the vaccines are still available on a different schedule, so Mr. Brown will give you the information how to contact the Liberty County Health Department. And I do see signs around town where they're still doing the COVID testing. And I hope you have taken advantage of ordering from CDC the at-home test kits that are available to you. They did say that the numbers for requests for tests was very high early on. Now it's kind of leveled off, so don't get complacent and get those kits. Keep them in the house. You never know when you may or may not need one. So just encourage you just to stay compliant, stay observant, so that we can move forward and go back to as much as the previous life that we're used to living in Liberty County and wherever you are. So thank you so much once again for hanging in there with us. Glad you're watching today. At this time, I will yield to the mayor of the city of Walthourville, the Honorable Larry D. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Brown. Good morning. Good morning to the citizens of Walthourville. In the words of Donald Lovette and the CDC, let us not get complacent. We have come a long way, but yet we still got a long way to go. We will be in conversation with the county and the other municipalities about the lifting of the restrictions, and we will move forward as so. So again, I'd like to say thank you so very much to the citizens of Walthourville, especially my City Hall staff and the Public Works Department, Police Department, and the Fire Department. Job well done, but let us not get complacent. Thank you. At this time, I yield to the county manager, Mr. Joey Brown.
Thanks, Mayor Baker. It's good to finally come to you without a mask on, I'll tell you that. And I thought about that as I was looking at my glasses not fog up as I attempt to bring you some information this morning. I think, you're probably aware, but the commission has continued to follow, we have all continued to follow the transmission rate and use it as a guide going forward as to what procedures, if any, need to be enacted for public safety. To take you back to January 14th, the transmission index in Liberty County was 2,598. At that time, the commission enacted an emergency order that put certain restrictions in place, again, for the protection of the public and the citizens. As of March 1st, as of yesterday, that transmission rate, the great news was it was down to 160. Amazing. And it's a result, I think the chairman said, it's a result of your diligence of heeding some thoughts and heeding some recommendations from professionals on what to do with vaccine and distancing and the way that you carried yourself. So the good news in response to that and the significant lowering of those transmission rates and the designation by the CDC of Liberty County as being a low County now in their new criteria they rate. The commission did vote last night to lift the emergency order effective immediately for certain things. And let me just highlight a few of those for you. The emergency order had required that mandatory masking take place in county facilities along with temperature checks. Those are no longer going to be mandatory. They'll be optional for citizens and staff to do that. The entry signage that was required is being removed at this time. In the realm of recreation, there were some requirements and facility usage. There were some requirements on occupancy. Occupancy had been limited to 50%. That's now been removed. So full occupancy as designated by fire marshal availability for those facilities is now open again. There were some designations and some restrictions that were put on program participants that required for spectators and visitors that were visiting these recreation events to be masked. Those have also been lifted. The last thing deals with public meetings. There have been restrictions put on access to some of the public meetings to try to encourage or restrict the limit on those that could be in response to those public meetings to only be those that had items on the agenda. That has also been removed. So the meetings are fully accessible now to the public. We will continue to do those on Facebook. That's been a very big positive that we've heard back on, so we'll continue to do that. Is a reminder there, though, that there is still an agenda policy that's in effect that you can call the county commissioner's office and get information on as far as what is available to be on the agenda and how that access works. There were some other embedded requirements that were done internal to staffing, and those have been removed also to do that. The chairman mentioned vaccines. In lifting the emergency order, he mentioned this. They still do want to encourage, we want to encourage you to still follow the vaccine guidelines, recommendations that the Coastal Health District and the CDC give out concerning not only initial vaccines, but boosters. To do that, information on the vaccines as well as a full COVID site are available at coastalhealthdistrict.org. coastalhealthdistrict.org. You can click on the COVID-19 tab and it will give you transmission rate index information. You can go into statewide information. There's an abundance of information there. But please don't hesitate to contact our office or the Coastal Health District if you have any questions on that. I had a question that kind of came to me, and it was really one I had also, and that deals with folks who have had the initial vaccine, they have had the second dose, and then they've had the booster, and 6 months have lapsed since that booster, whether there was any kind of thought process or recommendation concerning that, and that answer is not at this time. CDC has not issued any kind of recommendation for a second booster shot. So we'll continue to stay on top of that. And again, I personally want to thank you for helping out our community. We'll be doing a press release on this later on this morning before lunch, as a matter of fact, to get this out. But it is a result of your adherence to some recommendations, and hats off to you. We obviously will get into a transmission season again of all flu types, and we still encourage you to practice those vaccinations and the hygiene requirements that were set out. So with that, I'll see if there's any questions that we've got, and there are none, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brown and Mayor Baker. Today I was reading the Coastal Courier online, and I was looking at the obituaries, and I apologize for not remembering the name, but someone was listed and the cause of death was listed as COVID. So my point to you is it's still very real. It's still very real. I don't think we'll ever go back to life as we knew it before the COVID guidelines, protocol put into place. So please continue to wash your hands, and watch your distance. And I encourage you, I know that once again we're in the spring season, to have as many outside activities as you can as versus the inside activities. So let's do those things ourselves to ensure that we protect others and those that we love. Someone mentioned going to visit grandma, those kind of things. So we certainly don't want to be the cause of the demise of a loved one. So when I read that this morning in the Coastal Courier about the person losing the battle to COVID, I thought, here it is, it's not gone. So let's not get so complacent. Let's not celebrate that we beat COVID. It'll always be around, or something like that will always be around. So please maintain the CDC protocols as much as we can. When I go into a grocery store now, gentlemen, when I grab that little shopping cart, I wipe it. You know, there was a day when I wouldn't do that, but I do that now just because of because of the season that we're in, and those kind of things. So let's do that, and we'll all one day get to the place where we need to be. But in the meantime, let's enjoy what lies before us. Let's enjoy the spring season. Let's enjoy each other. And let's remain vigilant in our processes. And if you do that, we'll all get there together. So thank you once again for tuning in. And we see you same time next month for our next COVID update.